You mentioned earlier the topic of skill acquisition, and that's a topic that really fascinates me as well. I don't know if you've read the book The Talent Code before, but that's the book that kind of got me going on that whole thing about building neurological connections and developing skills through repetition. In your opinion, so obviously when you think about building skills through repetition, obviously the first thing we think of is drilling. That's pretty much would be the formula. In your opinion, though, what do you think is the best balance for developing a particular skill? Do you think it's positional training? Is it drilling something over and over again? What do you, in your experience, what do you feel is the most efficient way to build a solid skill in any aspect of jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I think the standard thing would be drilling, then positional or specific training, and then using it in live rolling. But I think really you're bouncing back and forth between them. Ideally, first you want to, the drill should get you first just used to the movement. Like if you can't, I always say, if you can't do the steps, like if you can't do just the technique properly on a compliant training partner, then you're not going to be able to do it in rolling, or you shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
But at the same time, I think if you just drill without trying it out with live resistance, then you have no context for how things should feel or the directions where your pressures should be, the ways they're going to escape. Like once you've felt when I actually do this move against resistance, they're going to drive this way and that way, and I actually need to be holding my grip a bit tighter. And you could. As an instructor, you could maybe explain in a lot of detail how you hold your grip, but until they've felt like the person escape a certain way and this and that, then it's going to be hard to get that across for someone who's drilling. So, so I always think at first a mix between you drill and then you'll do specific training and then you'll come back and drill, and then the drilling. I think being a good training partner for someone who's drilling is a bit of a skill too. It's at first at first you just kind of sit there if they've never done the move before. But as soon as they can do the move, you're going to want to make sure you're giving good postures, good light reactions that simulate what someone would do if they were fighting you. But even though you're not fighting, you're giving them the feel as if this is the direction they're going to be turning, and this is the direction they're going to be driving, and you need to develop pressures that way. So I think wrestlers do that really well, and generally jiu-jitsu guys don't. So I think that's kind of a progression, and that almost becomes at some point there's that becomes specific training, as in you're getting enough postures and resistance and so on that we do specific training. And I even, in my gym, I like to, sometimes I'm really specific with the specific training. Sometimes I'll say, all right, we're going live from here, but person on top, you're only allowed to escape in this particular way. That could be for someone who's new to learning a technique, it's even a big jump to go from let's do a single leg X sweep to suddenly, which is with no resistance, to suddenly let's go live, and then now your partner can turn left, right, forward, back. That's still quite overwhelming. So you can sometimes say, okay, well now you've got to try and do the single X sweep, and the person on top has to try to backstep, and then it's a battle between those two, and they get to learn the adjustments required to stop someone backstepping while still trying to execute the move, and then they need to learn when you can do it again with some of the other major common reactions. So I tend to like to put often more restrictions. I think the gap between the drilling or the sort of passive training to the live training is the biggest gap that we want to try to minimize with little restrictions like that.